at home quarantining. I'm quarantining with my wife and my two children. They're home from school, and of course, we've all been now working remote for about 3 weeks now. So thanks for having us on the call.
Thanks, DJ.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sal Murguia with Wescom Credit Union. I'm the Partner Development Representative with Wescom. I'm currently quarantining with my wife, Cynthia, my 7-year-old daughter, Isabella, and my 13-year-old son, Diego. And we've been all quarantining together for 3 weeks now. And just for this special occasion, this is the first time I combed my hair in 3 weeks. So I'm glad that we're all able to do this today. So I appreciate you all being here, and we welcome all the information and questions that you have. Happy to support.
Awesome. Thank you, Sal. Next, we have 2 of our peer coaches from the Financial Wellness Program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janani. I'm a senior at UCLA. I'm part of the Financial Wellness Program, and I'm a programming peer coach. I am quarantining with my roommate. I'm still here in Westwood. So yeah, it's not been too boring. Glad that she's here with me.
Thanks, Janani.
And I'm Catherine. I'm the other peer coach. I also serve as social media and marketing on team. And I'm quarantining with my family in the Bay Area. And I'm glad that we can be here to talk about resources and the ways that financial wellness can help.
Thank you, Kat. And then next up, we have Millen from the Financial Supports Commission.
Hi, everyone. My name is Milan Shrivastava, and I serve as the USAC Financial Supports Commissioner this year for Undergraduate Students Associations Council. I'm actually quarantining back home in Chicago with my family, so it's good to be back with them, but I miss UCLA for sure. I'm a 4th-year undergraduate at UCLA, double majoring in biology and political science, and I'm just excited to share all of our resources with all of you.
Thanks, Millen. And then we have Itzel from the Economic Crisis Response Team.
Hi, everyone. My name is Itzel Guerrero, and I am the case coordinator for the Economic Crisis Response Team. I am quarantining with my sister. She also works at UCLA, and my partner. So we've been here for about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. So first up, we really wanted to give you all some insight from DJ at Wescom as to, what is a recession? How is this impacting our stock market? What are some resources that Wescom Credit Union can provide? I also emailed out all participants attachments of a couple resources that DJ has put together in regards to the stimulus bill and student loan deferments. So DJ, go ahead, take it away.
Okay, great. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Thanks for having me on the call, Sarah. And I know I probably don't have the screen sharing ability, maybe I do, but there is a couple things I just wanted to start off the call with. And the first one was, are we in a recession? It's a good question. And as I'm on significant amount of calls on a daily basis for the last 3 weeks, we have many of the folks that we're discussing in the recession that are discussing about recession that we are in a recession. There's a couple of strategic partners that we work very closely with, and one of them is a very large money manager, and they're actually saying we are in a recession. In fact, that it did start this month. It's kind of interesting. I'm looking at a slide on my screen here that talks about some of the recessions in the past, and some have been very drawn out, some up to, 60 months, which is very, very concerning, all the way to 3 months, which is kind of interesting. And I know I'm kind of dating myself here, but if you go back to 1987, there was a market meltdown or crash that came down about 28%. It's kind of interesting. It did put us in a quick recession. It was only 3 months. So that would actually be our slowest, or I should say the quickest recovery from a market decline. So it's interesting when you look at this, and I'm more than glad to send these slides over to you to take a look at, but we do feel that we are in that right now. It's interesting when you take a look at the market. The last 3 weeks, the market has come down pretty significantly, although it's rallied back just a little bit here. We're down about 23% right now. What's interesting, though, is when you take a look at the market, why did this start to happen? And I think I mentioned this in some of the other sessions that I've done in person when I'm on campus with you guys. The market predicts at least 6 months out as far as what is happening. And so you saw in the last 3 weeks, a lot of things happen as it relates to liquidity with organizations. We started to see, of course, individuals starting to sell positions in the market. But I think the big thing we started to see is very good quality AAA rated bonds start to get sold in the market. And so we were asking the question, and our investors were saying, what does this mean? Well, we had a lot of organizations starting to see that the economy was starting to, quite honestly, get shut down. So what you had is you had organizations saying, we need to raise cash. We want to be very strong as it relates to our balance sheet with raising capital. And so you saw a lot of that in the first couple of weeks of the month of March. And then, of course, as we got towards the end of March, you had the Federal Reserve that basically stepped in and said, listen, we need to provide liquidity to the market. So when you see that headline that comes on the news and they're saying Federal Reserve is providing liquidity, what they're really doing is they're saying, as we started to enter this crisis, they wanted to make sure that organizations that needed to raise capital were very heavily capitalized. So whatever type of asset would be brought forward, the Federal Reserve was saying, we want to step up and provide that liquidity. So clearly that is a monetary stimulus where they're going to step in and do that. So a couple of other things just to kind of point out as relates to the environment we're in right now. A lot of the individuals and folks that we are actually following are saying that they believe this could be a V recovery. And what that means is it could be a sharp downturn with a dramatic upturn. Now, there's several things that we want to be looking at over the next couple of weeks. And I say this just because the headlines over the next couple of weeks from a number standpoint may not seem great, but you already start to see a little bit of stability happening in the market because they are saying our unemployment and jobless claims will be pretty big over the next several weeks. So we just have to understand that when we hear some of these numbers that we may not have heard in the past of 10 or 12% unemployment, 6-7 million people applying for unemployment insurance, just to understand that it's the fact that the economy is shut down. It's not the fact that the economy was not strong, but just the fact that we are all social distancing. So a couple of things on that as it relates to the recession. I think we have to pay attention to a few things. Income declines. It's interesting, another slide that I can't show you, but I'll just kind of let you know. Typically, as it relates to a recession, they look at gross domestic GDP, gross domestic product. When you look at GDP, a big portion of that, almost 70% of GDP, which is how they look at as it relates to a recession, is 70% of that is consumption. That's all of us here on the phone consuming goods and services. So as long as we see a decline, which we do anticipate over the next couple of quarters, then that clearly would tell us we're in a recession. But I feel that the economy, outside of what just hit us, we did have very good job growth. We had the lowest unemployment that we've had on record. And so I feel very positive about, going into this environment. It's very challenging right now, but feel when we come out the other side, I think we're going to be in very good position. I think there's a lot of financial stimulus. I sent over a couple of documents to Sarah, and I think the biggest thing right now that the government is trying to do is provide stimulus to individuals that are out of work. I can tell you from a standpoint of, Wescom is currently employing and has everyone either in our branches or working remote. Majority of individuals, though, are remote. So we are continuing to pay the individuals that work for our organization. However, like my wife is in childcare, and they did furlough her and, of course, close down her place where she works. And you do have a lot of employers doing that right now. But again, there's just a lot that's happening. The government is trying to provide additional bridge loans and funding to businesses, which will help them keep individuals employed. There's a couple things, of course, and I sent this over. It's called the CARE Act. This was put into place and signed on March 27th. A lot of good information that's in here. One of the things that, because we have now close to almost 10 million individuals that are going to be applying for unemployment benefits, I mean, that's just staggering. It's just such a big number. The federal government is going to step in, and in addition to the unemployment that, of course, will be provided by the state, there's going to be an additional amount of $600 provided to individuals, and that will be through July 31st, and then an additional 13 weeks. So the positive news, I guess, that's happening right now is they are trying to get actual cash into individuals' pockets right now. So one of the things that I did provide, it tells you about the individuals that will be receiving these stimulus checks. They are going to they're going to start going out, and that will happen, over this next couple of weeks. Talks about who will be receiving this, head of household individuals. Just to kind of give you an example, if you are head of household, you will be receiving $1,200. There is some income and phase out limits. I know we don't provide any tax advice, but just know that once you get to a certain level, the government's saying, listen, we really want to help those individuals under this certain level. For an individual, it's typically under 100,000. If you're married filing joint, it's really 200,000. So those are kind of some easy numbers to just kind of remember from this. But it's all about getting hard money into individuals' hands, especially in time of need right now, because a lot of individuals and companies are not paying their employees, which is very, very challenging. There is some information in there as it relates to student loans, and so I sent over a second handout. This one is called the Federal Student Loan Borrowers Relief. It does have some information in there, and not to go line by line, but just know that there is some relief that's being provided. Does this apply to all student loans? It doesn't, but it's only borrowers with outstanding federal student loans. So I know there may be someone else on the call that's talking about that, but it's a great 2-page piece that just talks about some of the high-level things and some of the relief that's being offered. And that's really what we want to do, is provide relief right now, and that's what I'm hearing from all the individuals I speak with. So I wanted to just kind of close out my comments just with some of the things that Wescom is doing. I think everyone knows that Wescom is a nonprofit organization. We are a credit union, but we're here for all of our members, and we're here as a resource to the community. So there's a lot of things we're doing right now to help our members and to help the community. One of the things that we're doing right now is typically if someone has a certificate of deposit with us that they're earning a fixed amount of interest, we're actually allowing them to take that out without any penalty, any fee, if they need to access that money for daily living or paying bills and things like that. So that's on our CDs. We also have what is called a quick assist loan. So a quick assist loan, it is not a payday loan. There's a lot of negative connotations with payday loans, but this is called a quick assist loan. It is up to $500, and the loan terms are about 6 months, 0% interest rate, and of course there's no application fee. So we're providing this for individuals that are looking for, again, a quick assist loan. It may be short-term needs. It could be just putting food on the table. So we have that now, and that is in place. And then just a couple of final things that we're doing. We also have something that we've had this before this economic crisis that's happening right now, but it's called a skip a payment. So you could go on to the Wescom Credit Union website and actually apply and just decide if you wanted to skip one of your payments. We will do that for loans up to, actually we have the skip a payment, and then we also have an emergency loan, and this is up to $5,000. This is for the first 90 days, 0 interest, and then 5.9% thereafter. And of course, there's no payment for the first 90 days. We've also increased all of our cash in ATMs. And again, we are here for our community. So if anyone has questions, and we're trying to do it on a case-by-case basis, if someone has a specific need on their banking, we'll absolutely be there for them. So I know I've covered a lot, but I just will turn it back to you, Sarah, and answer any questions if anyone has it.
Thank you so much, DJ, for sharing a little bit about our stock market, what a recession is, how it's impacting us, and all folks who have RSVP'd for the event have copies of the great resources you've put together on the CARE Act and student loan repayments. So we appreciate your time on the call. Next up, we really wanted to share with you all some of the resources that UCLA's Financial Wellness Program is providing students right now, now that we are experiencing a new normal of being virtual and working from home and self-isolating. So if Jonany and Kat could take a few moments and share some of the resources offered to students.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so as I said before, Kat and I were both peer coaches at the Financial Wellness Program at UCLA. So yeah, our mission is, basically to empower all Bruins to confidently navigate their finances in a way that supports their well-being, whether it's through workshops, whether it's through one-on-one coaching sessions, or whether it's through online modules that we have. So we cover topics like budgeting, credit, investing, debt repayment, scholarships. So I'm just gonna share my screen and show you our website so that you'd know how to book an appointment with us in the future. Just let me, yes. I hope everyone can see my screen. Yeah, so if you just look up UCLA Financial Wellness, that's us right there. I don't know why it's taking some time to load. And there's a cute photo of our team over there. Yeah, so if you want to go, an appointment with, actually we'll do workshops. So if you want to do a workshop with us, whether it's through your through an organization that you're part of on campus, or whether it's you and a group of people, a group of friends who are interested in learning more about a topic, you can just click on workshops over there. Just input your details, select a topic that you're interested in learning about. So we have, we have apartment hunting, we have caring about your credit, which is a really popular one, undergraduates on a Bruin budget. You can add some additional information about why your group might be interested in learning about that, and then you can just click submit, after which you should hear back from our lead programming peer coach within a week or so. So yeah, that's how you'd book a workshop. And then if you want to book, make an appointment, a one-on-one coaching appointment with us, yeah, you'd go to make an appointment. Again, input your details. If you want to add in any additional information, you could do that there. And then you'd have to indicate your availabilities over here. And then, yeah, so we have separate hours depending on, whether you're an undergrad or you're a grad student. So we have our grad peer coaches who meet during these hours. So yeah, you would have to indicate your availability and then click the checkbox, but ensure that you fill the intake form before your appointment. That is really critical so that our peer coaches can get a better idea of, what kind of demographic you belong to, what kind of topics would you want to discuss during your appointment so that they can tailor the session accordingly, and make sure that you get the most out of it. And yeah, so make sure you fill in the intake form, and then you should hear back from our administrative peer coach, and you will be set up with one of our peer coaches, and you'll receive all the information, the Zoom links, since we are all virtual this quarter and maybe virtual in fall, we do not know. But yeah, so that's how one-on-one appointments are done. And now I'll hand it over to Kat, who can discuss the online modules and our social media. Oh, let me just stop sharing this.
So my name's Kat. Just to build off of what Jonathan said, I'm gonna screen share and walk you guys through a few of the last of our resources. I hope this is showing right now, but I'm sorry about my clock. So if you search up UCLA Financial Wellness, as Jonathan did, you can see how there's course, you can book an appointment. If you're a part of a student organization that needs to be campus-based, but you still want to provide a space for everyone and provide resources, you can book a workshop with us. I'm going to walk us today through our online education and our social media. So for our online education, this is really exciting because we partner with Wescom. So you want to click on online education. That's the second tab from the left. And you're going to get to the screen where you get to choose whether you're a first year or if you're continuing non-traditional or graduation student. So for the purposes of today, let's pretend we're continuing student, and you're going to get some directions on what to do, and you just register. It's very simple, and you get to this page. And what's really great about this is that it's financial resources that you can tap into whenever you have a bit of time between your classes. So say you have like a free 10 to 20 minutes. This is a great way to kind of enrich yourself and pick up on something that you might not have known about before, especially in this current climate where there's a lot of confusion and it feels like what we're dealing with is so much that we don't know and our anxieties over that. Financial wellness is really looking for ways that we can serve you guys and empower you. And then finally, our social media provides another space and a medium for us to connect with our students. You can see how not only we post and publish about our programming, so like Janani said, with our different hours sectioned off for whether you identify as a transfer student, a first-gen student, and et cetera. But we also want to take the time to kind of research ongoing financial topics and break them down for our students. And then the last thing we do is we partner up with other resources on campus to bring attention to them and kind of alert all of our students so that they know if this is something that could help you or better your life, that this is, we want you to know about it and tune into it. And we also have our direct messages, which is another way that our students can kind of communicate with us if they feel that our website is a little bit more intimidating for them. Our end goal is just to be here as much as we can for people and to create a feeling of accessibility to knowledge and to be people who, even if we're not on campus, can help our peer students. I'm going to stop screen sharing. And like I said, we're here if any of you guys have any questions, you can send it in the chat or reach out to us after. Once I figure out how to stop sharing my screen. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat and Janani. We really appreciate it. Something else exciting that Financial Wellness is doing every Wednesday from 1 to 1:30 on our Instagram is we are hosting Instagram Live sessions where students can tune in and ask our peer coaches any questions related to finances. We tend to focus on investing and the stock market and the recession right now. However, we're also open to answering any budgeting questions or credit questions you might have during that time. So tune in, watch us live every Wednesday, 1 to 1:30. Next up, we have some updates from Millen with the Financial Supports Commission to let you know a little bit of the advocacy that students are doing on campus if you'd like to get involved and be a part of that.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. So I'm just going to keep mine a little short because I know that a lot of you are familiar with the work that FSC already does. But for those of you that don't, FSC is the Financial Supports Commission. So our job on campus is to be there to alleviate students' financial burden, as long as work with the other 14 USAC offices as a council. So the two main efforts that we're working on currently are to try to get tuition reduced of some sort or try to get stimulation packages available for students, opening up a scholarship fund with USAC fees, as well as advocating to administration to help fund that giant scholarship fund. And so the USAC president and I have a few meetings later on this week where we're actually meeting with administration, talking about those negotiations, sharing the 6,000 testimonials that we received from students as to how COVID-19 has put an extreme financial strain on students and why the UC system and our school specifically should take action in making sure that their students are financially secure, or at least just helping them become a little more financially secure than they are right now. The second main effort is helping our student workers, and I think that there'll be more information about this later by another advocate, but basically a lot of student workers aren't receiving proper compensation. There's a lot of confusion going on within the university. Some student workers are being properly advised by their supervisors and properly compensated, and some aren't. The reason for that is that UCLA administration and the UC regions have left it up to supervisors to make sure that they're properly communicating with their workers, and there's not really that many regulations in place as of right now to ensure that that's happening. So my office and a few other USAC offices are advocating for that proper compensation and that proper structure for student workers, as well as opening up a relief fund on administration's part to ensure that our student workers are being properly compensated and aren't suffering because they're not given alternative work. So those are the two main advocacy efforts that we have right now. We post constant updates on our Instagram, our website, and our Facebook page regarding that. We also have a Facebook page titled UCLA COVID-19 Updates. If you just search that on Facebook, you'll be able to find that. And we post constant USAC updates on our end as to what events we're hosting, what initiatives are being taken place, what advocacy is being put forward. So make sure to join that if you're a student that's interested in USAC's efforts on behalf of the student body. One last thing I wanted to share was the Scholarship Resource Center. So this was actually given to me by Sarah, so thank you, Sarah, for providing that resource. But the Scholarship Resource Center is actually a really great way for students to virtually be able to take advantage of these opportunities. I'm going to try to share my screen. Let me see. Okay, is that working? Let's see. Okay, so right here is the Scholarship Center's website. So it's scholarshipcenter.ucla.edu. They've actually organized it in a really great way. So all of these different tabs are organized based on, you know, what demographic you're part of, whether you're a first-year student, continuing student, transfer student. There's also prestigious scholarships for sophomores, juniors, seniors, recent graduates. So if we go to, let's say, juniors, they basically break it down in this way where it says the award name and it gives a description. And if you click on each one, it'll take you right to a description about it, tell you what the eligibility requirements are, what the application requirements are along with their deadlines. So it's a very organized way, and it's you know, very accessible digitally. So I definitely recommend that you guys take advantage of that. I also wanted to share their recent Instagram that was actually just made a few days ago. So if you're interested, definitely follow this account on social media. It's at ucla.src. FSC will also post a lot of updates about SRC in collaboration with them, but they will just, you know, post different updates on their website on different ways that they're gonna adjust their advocacy because of COVID-19. And then lastly, I just wanted to show our Instagram as well. So we post continuously, almost daily, about different initiatives going on, and we have around almost 2,000 followers. So yeah, if you're interested, just make sure to follow us, and you can keep up with our website, which is fsc.usac.ucla.edu.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Millen. It's great to see what students are doing on campus to support each other. Next up, we have some updates from the Economic Crisis Response Team. Just to let you all know what resources are available if you're experiencing a financial crisis.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to share my screen, give you a quick second, okay? Let me just play this for you really quickly. Awesome. Are you able to see my screen? Perfect. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the different financial support options that currently exist for students. However, that is shifting and changing as every day goes by, and as students are sharing new needs with our team or other spaces on campus. So this is what we have at this point in time. And so hopefully you find this helpful. Give me a quick second. So first and foremost, I think Millen touched a little bit on this about what do you do in case you have lost your job, specifically if you've lost your on-campus job. At this point in time, we have received meaning we, and this is a collaboration between ECRT, Dean of Students Office, Campus Human Resources, and a variety of different spaces on campus that are working collectively to provide student support. But if you have lost your job on campus, the first step that a student needs to do is to contact their on-campus employer, whether that means their supervisor and or their HR staff. And we recommend the students connect with both individuals because oftentimes your supervisor is not the same person that manages the HR capacities within that department. For example, the person who you signed paperwork with, that's often the HR individual, the human resources staff member, and then there's your supervisor, and sometimes they're the same and often they're not. So we encourage students to connect with both those individuals. Oftentimes the human resources staff member will be the person who receives communication from campus human resources and will often know the proper steps to provide students with an answer when they're inquiring about work study, continued work study pay and or administrative leave. It's really up to the employer at this point in time to determine what resources they can offer, whether it's continued work study pay or at paid administrative leave. And paid administrative leave is a calculation that was provided by Campus Human Resources, and I'll show you all at the very end when I share the ECRT website, where on UCLA's resources, this information is posted. That way, in case you have questions about it, you can go to that website, or should your employer also have questions about it, you can direct them to that website. And also recently, we've also learned that students are also eligible for unemployment through the California Employment Development Department. And so the EDD office will be reviewing on a case-by-case status for students. So they are considering students based on some work that was done between UC campuses and the state government. And so this will not be immediate relief, but it could be relief in the long term, or at least in the upcoming weeks, because EDD currently is a little bit backed up in applications because there has been a variety of individuals that are applying in the regular workforce for this service, but we encourage that students connect with both their employer and the EDD office and submit a claim for unemployment. So what happens if you are not eligible to receive continued work study pay and or administrative leave, which means that you've already connected with your employer and they say, we're sorry, we can't provide you with this service at this time for whatever reason they may give you. What a student will do then is they'll submit a financial hardship form, which can be found hosted on our website. It is not managed directly by ECRT. Again, it's a collaboration of individuals who are working to provide students with relief associated to COVID-19 job loss, but it's embedded there for students to find it easy on our website. And again, if a student is connects with their supervisor and they're not able to receive either work study pay or administrative leave, they're also encouraged to apply for unemployment to the state of California. And then what if you lost your off-campus job? Unfortunately, at this moment, the university is working to provide students relief for those who were employed on campus. But typically, if you were employed off campus, whether that be somewhere in Westwood or somewhere around in the LA area, more than likely you'll be eligible for unemployment through EDD. And so we encourage all individuals who have lost off-campus jobs to apply for unemployment through the California EDD website as well. And so should a student have financial needs that are not related to loss of wages or those that expand beyond loss of wages, students are invited to submit a self-assessment form to the Economic Crisis Response Team. From there, when somebody on our team will then look at the information that students have submitted through that self-assessment form and then provide feedback to that student within 2 to 3 business days related to the financial crisis that they're sharing about on their assessment form. And so give me a quick second. I'll show everyone the website at the very end and show you kind of what that looks like when you log in and where to find that information. And so once a student submits a self-assessment form, we'll do an individualized intervention strategy for every single student based on the specific circumstance that every student is facing. those intervention strategies look a little bit different for every student because not every student situation is always the same. And so we cater all of our intervention strategies specifically to the certain situation that the student is facing. So what we do is we'll do that intake, we'll look at what's going on, and then we'll reach out to the student with either possible options or we'll request more information if we need it. And then finally, one of our most popular services, which is our meal voucher program, has been adjusted a little bit. If you are already aware of our program, this program is to provide food resources for students who live off campus and do not have access to a meal plan. And so typically our meal voucher program was an in-person process where students would connect with a distribution location and then request those in person and would be handed those in person. At this point in time, considering some of the safety measures that the state of California and the city of Los Angeles have taken into consideration for our public health crisis, we are adjusting that a little bit. And so students can actually submit a meal voucher request form online. And once they submit that online, which is also hosted within our website, students will receive a notification about 1 to 2 business days from our team, letting students know if they are eligible and with instructions on where to pick those up, based on what staff we have available on campus during that week. And so that information can be found on our website. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find that information, and also show you eligibility requirements and all kinds of information. So give me a quick second. I'm going to exit out of this. And then I'm going to share. Awesome. So this is our website. We can be found at www.studentsincrisis.ucla.edu/economic-crisis-response. It's a little bit complicated, but we're actually hosted within the UCLA Consultation and Response website, and we're a tab on the side. So you'll go ahead and click here. And you'll also see the information here about the variety of different items associated to loss of wages, and kind of a brief set of instructions for students. And so, for example, students who are on work study or were using work study to receive payments for their job can click on here to receive instructions on next steps for engaging with their employer. Sorry, let me go back. For those who were not work study students, who were being paid outside of work study, which means that your employer was using their funding and their resources to pay for student wages, can click on paid administrative leave, and then it provides information for both the student and HR individuals and or staff members within the department who are managing student employment. And finally, the financial hardship form can be found here. So you'll be able to select that, and it'll make you go through a login form, which it's only open to UCLA students. And so you'll go through that login and answer a variety of questions that are expanded from those of the original loss of wages form. If you or anybody knows of that form, it no longer exists because we're trying to connect students. Sorry. And then finally, our self-assessment form is here. So again, you'll go through the login process and click that link here for information on if you are experiencing a crisis that is unrelated to loss of wages. And finally, you will also find our meal voucher request form here. It also, right under the meal voucher request form, you'll see information associated to eligibility requirements, and then students can click here to submit that form. And again, that'll take between 1 to 2 business days for us to verify eligibility, and then let students know, we'll provide students with updated instructions on next steps. You see, and then there we go. I think that's it. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you, Itzel. We really appreciate
Yeah.
your time and handling, I know that the economic crisis response team is getting a slurry of requests and cases coming through with what's going on right now in terms of our public health crisis. So we really appreciate all that you and your team are doing to support our students.
Thank you. We're doing the best we can, and I apologize for some of those glitches on my share screen.
Awesome. So I'm going to take a few moments and go through some quick updates related to things that the state has put out, that the government has put out, and resources that the university has also put out for students. And then I'm hoping once I'm done with that, we have a few minutes left for questions from anyone who is tuning in. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you all. All right, can everyone see this okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Awesome. Thank you, Johnny, for the thumbs up. So I wanted to share with you all a little bit of updates in regards to housing. Some students have contacted us interested in terminating their lease with their apartment and their landlords. Right now, Student Legal Services on campus, they're waiving any consultation fees for students who are need support to go through what it would mean to terminate their lease if they have moved back home with family or guardians. I've added their website here at the bottom of the form so that students can look into that. Also, if you have been awarded your financial aid and you had originally told financial aid you were going to be living on campus or in an apartment, you don't need to notify them if you have decided to move back home. Whatever financial aid has dispersed to you, that is yours to hang on and to keep. It will not be owed back to UCLA. Unemployment, so lots of folks have talked about unemployment. Here you can see the direct link to apply. You must meet new qualifications. What has gone on now with unemployment is that they have extended this service to folks who maybe have been Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, who work in the gig economy, folks who are hairstylists, grooming stylists, and also folks who are self-employed. So normally these folks wouldn't qualify for unemployment, but it's been extended to those folks. The federal government is contributing up to $600 a week until July 31st. That is if each state that you're living in says yes to this extra government money that would be coming to you. And then the California state maximum is $450 per week. This can be pushed out to a maximum of 39 weeks depending on your situation. But of course, you'd want to connect with edd.ca.gov and go through some of their tutorials and intake process because these numbers and these amounts may look different for everyone. And as Isel said, they are very backed up right now. So if you're thinking about filing for unemployment, please do so. Submit a request tonight. Also, something else that has been expanded is unemployment used to be solely for full-time workers, and that has now been expanded to folks who are also part-time workers. So if you are a student who's experiencing some part-time job loss, please apply for unemployment because the government has put money there for you all to use. Some students have reached out to us asking questions about paying their credit card bills, paying off maybe mortgages, maybe they have a car loan out, right? A lot of financial institutions are allowing folks to submit a deferral online. It's an application where you have to prove that you're having some sort of financial hardship related to COVID-19 and be able to apply for a deferment on payments to your credit card bill, your mortgage, etc. So depending on where you have these loans out, you'll want to contact those financial institutions and fill out those applications. You'll want to make sure with them as well that if you're deferring payment, it's not impacting your credit score negatively in any way. And you'll also want to ask about interest rate, if your interest rate will still be accruing if you decide to defer your payment on any of these pieces of loan borrowing. Next, we have student loan forbearance. So if you are an alumni of UCLA, let's say in June, you're about to graduate, your student loan will automatically go into a federal student loan will go into a 6-month grace period. For folks who are alumni right now, your loans have automatically gone into administrative forbearance if they are a federal loan. Interest rates on your student loans have also been paused. However, if you still want to pay your student loan, let's say you are signed up for a public service loan forgiveness program or a teacher loan forgiveness program, right now the policies say that this will not impact your 120 on-time payments needed to get the rest of your loans forgiven. But we just recommend, if you're in a position where you can pay the loan back right now, we recommend doing it so that in terms of policy and who's leading our government at the time, no one can kind of stick you for not making payments for these 6 months for any sort of reason. So that would be our biggest recommendation. You can find out who your loan servicer is on your federal student loans by going to studentaid.gov, making an account, signing in. You'll have all the phone numbers and addresses of your loan servicers listed there. And this is also retroactive to March 13th. So if you know someone who has made a payment between March 13th and now, and they want it to get it kind of reimbursed to them, you can call your loan servicer and ask for that. In terms of Perkins loans or university-based loans, so some of you may have a Regents loan that you took out through the university. Those are all handled separately through ECSI and our UCLA collections office. So I gave you a link here to our UCLA collections office, which is where you'd want to go and sign up for virtual consultation hours to make sure you can put your loans, talk with one of the counselors to put your loans on hold. Basic needs and CalFresh. So our community programs office has done a great job at creating a comprehensive basic needs resource guide for you all. You'll have the link here. I'll also send out these slides with everyone else's at the end of this presentation. They're also giving away grocery store gift cards until April 9th. So that gives you all a couple days to fill out that application if you want to apply for and see if you can get some gift cards for local grocery stores. There's also been a lot of changes to how CalFresh is implemented. So they've increased stipends for folks who are receiving CalFresh. It used to be that you would have to go through an interview process through one of their workers to get CalFresh. That has been suspended to help expedite the process. If you're interested in getting CalFresh, also known colloquially as food stamps, Mondays 8:30 to 4 p.m. There will be CalFresh counseling. You can find the latest link to how to enter those virtual counseling hours for CalFresh applications on our Instagram, which is at UCLA Financial Wellness. A couple posts back, we gave you all the information. Now, a lot of folks have asked us about this stimulus check or a stimulus payment that might be coming from the government. And I know that DJ did a great job at going over this with you. Also, if you take a look at the handout that I sent you all from DJ and Wescom, it goes over different income levels and whatnot. But basically, in terms of college students, if you are someone who filed your taxes independently and your family or guardians did not claim you on their taxes, then you could qualify for the $1,200 stimulus check. However, if your family did claim you as a dependent, families will receive a $500 payment per child if they are claimed. So if you're making under $75K a year and you filed your taxes as an independent person, you should receive a $1,200 check. Now, a lot of people are asking, how am I going to get this check? Where is it going to come from? If you look at the link at the bottom of this slide, the best news that's been given to us so far is if you did file your taxes in 2019 or 2018, it'll be sent to whatever checking account or account you had on file for direct deposit. If not, it'll be mailed to your most recent address that the IRS has on file. So if you have moved, you'll want to give them a call or contact them and let them know, please do not send it to my past address if you have not already created a refund direct deposit account with them. A lot of students have asked, where do I go if I want help filing my taxes? Right now, the Volunteer Income Tax Association at UCLA is on pause because there are in-person restrictions. However, the UCLA Financial Wellness Program recommends looking into TurboTax. It's a free step-by-step guide to file your taxes. Or if you have a lot of intricate questions, we recommend hiring a private tax specialist like H&R Block to ask some questions related to your specific situation. All right, so we now have a few minutes for some question and answers. So all of our panelists are open to answering questions that you might have. So if you're on the call, feel free to type in the group chat any questions that you may have from our presentation. All right. One person sent me a message asking, how would you recommend I budget during this time? So I'm going to open that up to Wescom and to Financial Wellness peer coaches for that answer. How should people budget the money they have right now?
Hi, this is DJ at Wescom. It's a great question, and you know, one of the things that we're doing right now is our branches are still open. We actually have individuals working in, you know, the social distancing capacity, but I think right now what's most important is to make sure to just take care of your immediate needs, right? And that's making sure to put food on the table, making sure that you have transportation if you are going someplace for maybe a job or something. But that's really important right now is from a budgeting standpoint. What I can tell you, and just final comment here is your financial institutions, specifically Wescom, are working with everyone. Our lines are absolutely filled with many callers consistently asking me, can I get help on my credit card, on my mortgage payment? I think if you just describe the situation and what you're asking for, we have had already about 1,000 members that we have actually helped just calling in because, of course, budgeting and things like that. Furlough, meaning they've been laid off. Maybe they're waiting for their check to come in for the unemployment. But feel free to reach out to your financial institution. Just be patient too, because a lot of them are, you know, taking calls. Sometimes it could be a 20 or 30-minute hold. But just know that your financial institution is out there willing and ready to help you.
And I'd like to add on to that a little bit. We talk a lot about budgeting in financial wellness, and I just want to advise everyone, like DJ said, it's all about your necessities right now. You should prioritize holding yourself over. So if possible, you can list all your income sources and then list all your bills. And that can include things like savings, how much you put into savings regularly, food, utilities, transportation, miscellaneous things, home, personal things, and pets. Figure out what are your needs, and then what is it that you would just, what you need to stay alive, what you need that you usually think, oh, I should pay this, and what would just be nice to have. And the things that you have to pay, like DJ said, there's a lot of flexibility with a lot of these things, like paying your credit card bills or your student loans. A lot of these times, like the best thing to say is relate it back to COVID-19, where you're saying that I'm having difficulty paying these things related to the current climate, and explain why, and explore your options. But the biggest thing is to see what you can cut out if you can't afford to pay everything. And I just want to add to, if it's hard to kind of deal with it yourself and figure it all out, you can come to us during coaching hours, drop in, or by appointment.
Thank you, Kat and DJ. We also received a question in regards to the stimulus bill, and I'm wondering, DJ, if you have the answer. I advised this person to talk to a tax specialist, but they're wondering if they are considered an adult over 18 and their parents have claimed them as a dependent on their tax forms. Would their dependent receive $500 for them as a dependent, or do they have to be a child under 18?
Yeah, it's a great question, and as it relates to taxes, I'm I know some of the answer, but I am not able to give it. But what I would say is, if you take a look at the piece that we did send out, and I'm more than glad to send you a few more other pieces, it will tell you and kind of walk you through that stimulus check. What's interesting is, and I didn't provide it, but there is a couple of resources out there that will actually walk you through the calculation and just show you what that actually means. You know, for an example, someone may be phased out on this income, and basically because they have a child, they actually are they're going to receive a refund. So there's a quick scenario that is given in the hand that I did send out, and it just kind of walks through that. But there's a couple things, of course, in there. You know, making sure, of course, that you're not claimed as a dependent. There's a few things just to be aware of. And Sarah, your slide was actually a great slide that just talked about, you know, those things. And again, in addition to that unemployment, there is the additional stimulus of the $600. So you're going to have really over the next several weeks, it's going to be nice to have individuals receive these funds immediately, just so they can start to put that to use for just necessities and things like that. One thing I just wanted to add on to the last question, Sarah, if I could, as it relates to budgeting,
Yes.
something that everyone may want to do is just take a look at your account, your checking, your savings. We all have these automatic debits, and we're advising people to take a look at them because there's some services such as the gym. They are still charging, and you cannot go to the gym and pay for that service. So good idea just to go through, take a look at your last 2 or 3 months, your credit cards. Is there anything that I could stop because it's just on auto pay and you don't want to have that commit to something that a service you can't even use right now?
Thank you, DG. That's a really good tip. Definitely took a look at my checking account and saw some withdrawals that I don't have access to right now because, you know, things are closed. So that's a really, really great tip. So we are a bit over time. I want to be respectful of everyone's evening. We appreciate you being here. From the bottom of our hearts, we hope you stay inside. We hope you stay healthy, safe. If you're in Los Angeles this week, it's been advised to order your groceries deliverable online if you can. Take care of each other, take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones as best as you can. We know this is a new normal that we're all navigating together with, and so we appreciate you joining us here in this virtual space today. With that being said, take good care. If you need to reach out to any of us, please feel free to respond to the RSVP email I sent out, and I'll also be sending out meeting notes as well as slides from today's session. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Wait, excuse me.
Thanks, everyone.
There's some questions written down in the chat. I could definitely stay to get it answered.
One of them asks,
For those of you who